Ooh! What's going on, guys? Matty Brawlick here with more flab and less abs.
What's going on, guys? Togavor here! Ow!
That's right, guys. It's not Matty. It's Togavor, as always. And today, we're back at it for the big day against none other than the man himself, Matty Brawlick. And in honor of that, I am, as you can see, quite topless. I apologize for, hopefully, the lack of a nipple view. But you really wouldn't want to see that anyways. I am not as brawlic as the Matt himself. But anyways, we are facing off against him. It's our second time playing him this season, and it is, of course, in the first round of the playoffs. So before anything else, before we jump into the video, talk about this Heat team that we're bringing, pop his team up on your screen there, talk about the matchup a little bit. Make sure you do go check out Matty. He is a fantastic content creator. He puts out a lot of really good videos, especially in draft league format. He's actually this season had one of the better draft league seasons I think I've seen from anyone. So if you want to learn from someone who, you know, is not only a cool guy, he is a pretty good friend of mine. We're always helping each other out, prepare for these games. But he's just a great player, both in standard Smogon play and especially in draft format. So actually the other day he uploaded his run of the March Madness tournament that we also competed in, and you'll be seeing my side of that in this coming week at some point. But make sure you go check him out. Go watch his side of this video. It has already been up for a few hours. Drop him a sub, whatever, even if you're probably subbed to him. He has like 5 times as many subs as I do. But that's it for that. Anyway, so let's hop right back into this. So we did lose to Matty the first time we played him in week 10 of this season. So yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. Hacksy game on both sides. I got some early game hacks that put me in a really good position to win, and then he won his speed tie with Kabalian versus Deladius and got a flinch that put him in a position to then win the game, as well as Salazzle just dicking me the entire mid-game. I still probably would have won without that, but I couldn't have called it clean if I did at all. So glad that we're hopefully going to be able to have a cleaner redo of that game, though unfortunate that it has to come with this much stakes on the line. Very nerve-wracking, I assume, for both of us, as it is quite a scary game. So anyways, yeah. So on his team, he Magirna, Charizard X, Landorus Therian, Rotom Wash, Decidueye, Cobalion, Meloetta, Azelf, Smeargle, Blastoise, Salazzle, and Quillfish. So definitely one of the more threatening teams in the league, for sure. Even if Dallas did draft it and Matty only got to make a couple free agency moves, Magirna is an almighty threat in the format, along with Zardex, and Landorus T with that Z move is terrifying, as normally a physically defensive Venusaur with the likes of Leech Seed can take on any non-Swords Dance Landorus variant very easily, and that means he'd basically have to choose between a setup option and a Stealth Rocker against my team, which would be really nice. You know, allow me to play around it quite a bit easier and not worry about rocks as much possibly. But because it gets Fly, he doesn't even need SD to break through my team. So that is, or Z-Fly that is, because it just fucking kills my Venu. So because of that, we just have to try to check that offensively. And a lot of this game plan is because of the nature of his team. I'm forced to just a lot of times check things more offensively than have good switch-ins into them, which is really unfortunate because that's just not how I'm used to playing. I'm used to being able to bring, you know, 3 to 4 defensive Pokemon that can handle maybe all of their offensive threats but one, slap a berry on one of my offensive things as a lure, and, you know, plug and play, and pretty reliable way to win games, especially with the structure of my team this season. But Matty's team is so powerful with setup threats like the Magirna, Charizard, and Landorus that style of play is pretty much impossible if I want to pull out this game. So it's going to come through with a lot of gimmicks, a lot of speed, and a lot of offense from my end. So in that spirit, starting off, screw this AVG bullshit, we have a Weavile, Knockoff, Natural Gift, Pursuit, and Ice Shard. I'd love to be able to run Swords Dance versus his team, but because of the Magirna, I'm trapped into these moves unless I want to forego priority. But that Ice Shard priority is huge this game because it's going to allow me to check things like a Scarf Azelf. He brought that versus me last time. It's a huge threat to my team, so Ice Shard with rocks up and maybe some residual chip damage from some of my other Pokemon. Maybe it tries to switch it into my Venusaur once. Antigone will be able to come in and revenge kill it, which will be really good. Knock off, because it's great stab versus his team, I'm able to weaken things. It's able to knock off the Magirna, which is the reliable switch, and get rid of that thing's item, which is very nice. The natural gift ground with the apricot berry is there for the Magirna. It also serves as a good check to both or not a good check, but a way to get around a defensive Charizard trying to check my Weavile, and as well as a potential Chople Berry Cobalion, because since the low kick is pretty obvious to hit that, a Chople Berry makes a lot of sense as long as he's not switching into the knockoff first to check my Weavile. I've seen that in a lot of games in my mocks, so even then it can take a low kick pretty well, but it's just another way to hit it. And then we have the Pursuit there, and that's to Pursuit Trap the Decidueye if he brings it, and I will explain why that's so important later, as a kind of special element to my team relies on the Pursuit. So next we have the Haxorus with Outrage, Earthquake, Dragon Dance, and Dragon Claw. With the Z Dragon move now, I make a pre-game mistake here that I will explain in the battle with my moveset. The game would have been a lot easier, and I would have had a lot easier time breaking through his team if I had done something different. But even then, after Dragon Dance, if he switches in Lando to this, which I imagine will be his original switch-in, at least depending on his Magirna set. If it is Shukaberry, that could come in first potentially, but that's why I have the Unnerve. So at +1 with my Adamant Nature, I can just Oko Magirna even if it's Shukaberry. Dragon Claw hits a majority of his team. It's going to be good for things like Rotom, because I'm not running Mold Breaker, I am running Unnerve, but I don't expect Rotom to come in this matchup anyways when I do have the Latios, the Clef, the Mega Venu, and the Seismitoad, all of which pretty much hard wall anything but a Trick variant. And even then, a Trick variant can't do anything to Venusaur, can't really Volt Switch out for momentum versus things like Seismitoad, and my offensive threats that I'm bringing this game still hit it hard. So I don't see Rotom Wash coming in anywhere in the world. That's one of the reasons why I'm able to afford to run Unnerve this week. But everything else, aside from the Magirna, he does not have a Dragon Resist. So this is going to hit his team very hard. Even just with that small amount of bulk investment, I'm able to set up on things. I'm actually able to take any one hit from Lando, especially if Stealth Rocks aren't up, unless it's Choice Banded or I'm getting hit with the Supersonic Sky Strike. So that is going to be really nice. Definitely a big win con this week. Next, we have Curse, Synthesis, Earthquake, Knockoff, Mega Venusaur. Shout out to my front office for this set. Jarrett with the original idea, and Bronson reinforcing that this was such a good bring versus his team. The Spadef is going to be allowed to take on any set of Magirna, at least for some amount of time, and wear it down, unless it is a Psybeam Psycheum Z set, because actually that Psybeam gets launched up to at least 100 power, if not more, so a Calm Mind into Psybeam, Z Psybeam variant could be very threatening versus my Mega Venusaur, but he didn't bring it last time, so I don't think he's going to bring it this time, and I'm going to either place some faith that Matty doesn't know it exists, or doesn't think it's viable and thinks a better set is better, a different set is better, because that is what he brought last time. I don't expect the same team at all, but if that kind of large tech, which does affect the game so much, didn't come last time, I don't really see a chance of it coming this time, unless he is saving it, of course, which is reasonable. So maybe there's a chance I have to scout for it, make a ballsy play into Weavile scouting for it, and hit him with the natural gift fire. But I don't know, something like that to scout for it. Anyways, next we have a Habanberry Latios with Psychic, Earthquake, Draco Meteor, Roost. Now I'm not bringing hazard removal on this team because I think I can either pressure his team to the point where he won't be able to get up rocks, or even B, I don't think he's going to bring Quillfish this week at all versus me, and if you look at my team, aside from the Weavile, my team's really not weak to rocks, and since Weavile is not running Life Orb this week, I'm not too concerned about it being worn down by hazards, as it's not really going to take a hit from anything anyway, because it is so frail, so rocks aren't getting up on my side, aren't the end of the world, as everything is neutral minus the Weavile. So the attack investment here meant more when I had a Life Orb on it, which was the original set, and that was because it gave me pretty much a guaranteed shot to 2-hit KO Leftovers Magirna after Stealth Rocks with Earthquake, which could be really good, because I could definitely see him setting up a Calm Mind on my Latios, especially if he thinks I'm going to be the Reflect type set that Jolt brought last time, so I definitely think that that's a good bring. Roost is there to keep me healthy, give me some longevity. Habanberry is there because my team is very weak to Charizard X, and this serves as a great lure to it, preventing it from putting in work against my team. It could even be initial switch in to his Zarda X because the chance that he clicks Dragon Claw the first time against my team is pretty low, given the fact that I have a Clef, and that Flare Blitz hits a lot of my team for just as much damage. So, get that guaranteed damage off. He could also go for a Will-O-Wisp, if he's a more defensive set for Weavile. That's something I'm also prepared to face. So because of that, Latias should always pretty much be my initial switch into Zarda X. And even if he does click Dragon Claw that first time, he's not going to kill me, and I'm going to be able to force it out as I do outspeed it. Next, this is what we're leading off with. Sash Lead Clef, Stealth Rock, Moonblast, HP Ground, so we can hit that Magirna, not Cobalion, but Magirna for that chip, as well as hit the Salazzle in case he brings it and tries to get some subs up on me. Encore is there to try to basically be an effective counter lead, possibly Encore's Magirna into a setup move if he tries to take advantage of this Clef set, so that is what we are looking at. Now, next we have Laertes, the Seismitoad, and this is the big spicy meme set of the week, if you could even call it that, but it is so threatening versus this team, because if I'm able to get Stealth Rocks up and weaken things like the Decidueye, that is what the Pursuit there is for. Even if he's Culver Berry, that Pursuit's going to be able to chip it down effectively, and put it in range of a modest HP Flying. Surf, Earth Power, get the Rain Dance up with the Damp Rock turns. This is looking spicy for this team. If I get rocks up and I weaken things like the Blastoise if he brings it, and the Meloetta and the Decidueye, this OHKOs his entire team after rocks, so that is looking spicy. It 2-hit KOs the Magirna, does not OHKO it, but unless it is running Energy Ball or a modest Specs Floor Cannon, it should not be able to OHKO me back. I'm not sure about that Magirna calc, but unless it's running Energy Ball, I'm not worried about it OHKOing me. And I don't necessarily expect Floor Cannon versus my team either when I have the Venusaur, because that would just weaken him. So that's the team this week. I'm pretty proud of it. Put in a lot of work this week into making sure it was ready. And without further ado, we're going to hop over to the battle versus... Alright, so here we are in the game versus Matty. And right off, some of the first reactions that I have to seeing this team is A, I don't see Decidueye, so that's looking very, very good for my Seismitoad. B, he brought the double Psychic Core, so that's going to pressure my Venusaur a lot more than I would have wanted. And C, he brought the Blastoise, which I think could give some of my mons an opportunity to set up, but it is unfortunate because that means he's going to have an ability to get rid of his hazards, most likely, which I don't like because I want the rocks there to wear down that Zard especially. And the last thing is no Salazzle, so fuck yeah, bitch. Hate that fucking Pokemon. So, besides that, I'm just going to go with my plan. I'm going to lead off straight away with my Clefable as he leads off with the Landorus. And first turn, doesn't matter what he's doing, I'm getting up my rocks. He can get up his rocks if he wants. Now he goes into his Meloetta, and I click Encore turn 1 because I assume that I'm going to be slower than Meloetta, and I'm going to be able to Encore him to something like Calm Mind. But I'm faster, so could have just gotten Moonblast damage. And he just sets up a sub. Yeah, but and then on this next turn, I decided to go for Encore. Now, it could have been a misplay because, obviously, I'm going to go for another Encore when he goes for sub, but I didn't want to risk him just staying in and going for Hyper Voice because just him going for Hyper Voice when he's behind the sub, I mean, yes, I would break it and then get more damage off, so probably not the worst thing in the world. Probably should have clicked Moonblast again here. Would have been a lot better, but it's really not going to end up mattering in the long run, as I'm going to go for the Moonblast to get a good chunk of damage off on that Blastoise, revealing that it is max physically defensive, and his Scald's not going to do anything to me, and since I'm Magic Guard, I'm not worried about the burn, and he doesn't go for Rapid Spin there, which is a play that I disagree with. I think he definitely should have gone for Rapid Spin. It would have given me potential free setup with something, but it would have got the rocks off his field, which, as you're going to see later, comes into quite a bit of play. Now, my Moonblast is able to continually weaken this thing down. I'm going to go for another one, and he's going to go for the Hyper Voice and take me out. But at this point, Clef has put in a lot of work. I have gotten rocks up. I have severely weakened his Spinner. I have weakened Meloetta, which is most likely sub-Calm Mind at this point, Modest, which is a huge threat to my team. So I'm feeling very good at where I am. Now, right here, I go into Haxorus, and I make another play that I just wish I wouldn't have. Instead of just going for the safe Dragon Claw, I go for a DD. Now, that's not actually a bad play necessarily, but anyways, he goes for Hyper Voice here and does a shit ton, and so that's how I know he's modest, and I don't expect him to do anything but sack the Meloetta there because that looked like his best play. Now, here he goes into Lando like I expected. Now, here is the point in the game where me bringing the moveset I did really hurt me. I only have Dragon and ground moves, and my outrage does kill this. But what I should have done, looking at the team, is I only have outrage to click the Z outrage. I don't really want to get locked into it. I should have thought to bring the Z Aquatail. In fact, Matty actually mentioned this in his commentary, and that was what he's going to scout for here in a second. Now, I knew in my mind that this was a possible scenario, and I knew Matty would scout for the Z move, so if I had indeed brought that Z Aquatail, right here, I would have gone for another Dragon Dance. But because I'm only those 2 moves, and I don't want to get locked in versus the Landorus in a move that I don't want to, and that a move that can't hit the thing. So for instance, what could happen right here is, say I went for the Z. So it's not really, it's not the biggest thing. I brought what I brought. I'm not going to go into the hypotheticals there, but you'll see in a second why me bringing Aquatail would have been a much better bring. Not only with the fact that doing more damage to Landorus and not forcing me to lock myself in outrage later game, but that would have been good. Now here he does make the correct play and goes into Blastoise. Now I still almost DD'd again, and if I DD'd again, it obviously would have been cooler. But what happens. Yeah, I really wish I would have DD'd again there. If I was the other set, seeing how it is, it's not really going to matter. As I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw, do 35%, and he's going to go for the U-turn and take me out. Now, I kind of wish I'd gone for the Outrage there, but had he, not killed me and gone to Magearna, that would have been awful. So I definitely think I made the right play now. Now, you see he's on the balloon, so on his thing, which means I actually had no way to hit that. Now, he had no way of knowing that, assuming I probably had the Aqua Tail, as he only saw the Z Outrage move, and then probably assumed my last move was Aqua Tail. So, makes sense why he played the way he did, but a Z Aqua Tail, in fact, could have possibly OHKO'd that Meloetta. So, had I done something like got that second DD up as he went to Blastoise, because in my mind when I was prepping this, I knew Matty was going to scout for the Z move in the Landorus after initially going into it. And so, I had been thinking about that for a long time. Like pre-match, like not joking. Like I was like, I knew this is a very likely scenario of the game. So if I get in that scenario, I'm clicking the second DD every time. But I'm glad I didn't end up doing it. I'm glad I got those nerves there, because otherwise it could have came down to some tricky 50-50s with the Meloetta or with the Magearna, and possibly making me switch out while being set up, if that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of going all over the place right there, but had I brought the Z Aqua Tail after he comes in with his Landorus after, so I kill his Blastoise just with a normal Dragon Claw in this fictional world. Then he brings his Landorus back in. I go for the normal Aqua Tail, which I didn't actually do the calc on it, but let's just say somehow it knocked it out. I don't know if it would have. Based on how bulky he was, I kind of doubt. Alright, so assuming that Landorus was kind of a bulky offensive Landorus is what I predicted, with max HP and a little defense. After Stealth Rocks, or 2 switch-ins of Stealth Rock, Aqua Tail would have just killed it. So, without going for the Z move, then I could have used my Z move on the fucking Magearna, and maybe just won the game with Haxorus. So that would have been really cool, but I'm dumb and didn't bring that in team prep, but that's fine. It ended up working pretty well. I've weakened his Landorus significantly, got rid of 2 of his Pokemon on my team. 2 of my Pokemon are down, but that's okay. So right here, as I bring in my Venu, he goes into his Charizard X as I go for a knockoff, just trying to get some damage off on that Lando. Now that's fine. Now right here, he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Now, on this turn, I don't make the play that I should have at all. I should have gone hard into Latias. I even thought about the Will-O-Wisp in my head, and then literally when I was mulling this turn over in my head, I was like, I just forgot about Will-O-Wisp for some reason and stayed in with Venu. But, I get fucking rewarded. I'm really sorry, Matty, about this Hax, and he fucking misses again. That second one did not matter as much. At least depending on his spread, that Earthquake still would have killed, but I feel really bad for that. That's the fact that it fucking happens in the playoffs too. Got Hax both times. I mean, the first game was just messy. I'm not going to call that Hax in my favor with the way everything turned out, but it just sucks that we're unable to have a clean match, because Matty's someone who I respect a lot and haven't had a chance at this point to have a clean match against. So because of that, I'm put in a much better position to win this game. It's definitely still not over. Magearna, depending on its head, could still come in and just clean sweep my team. But he goes for the Earthquake there. That knockoff is not able to quite knock it up. But as you can see, it was the Earthplate variant, so it probably was some kind of bulky offensive variant. I'm going to synthesis up here, and curse up some more. Now, here's a point where I make a bad play. Not here. He goes for Earthquake. I go for Synthesis. Now, right here, I'm going to go for the knockoff and take him out. And this was a bad play on my part. Because what I should have done is been calcing Azelf sets and seeing... I knew he wasn't Scarf at this point. Because he would have came in and revenged my Haxorus with it for sure. So, I could have guessed that he's some kind of offensive Grass Knot special variant, because that just makes sense versus my team. I did obviously find out after the match that is what he is from his videos, so obviously that's a little easier to say in hindsight, but if I just ran some calcs of various spreads, I could have found out that with my spread, as I am very specially defensive, almost max in fact, that if I had cursed up even more than synthesis up as much as I could versus the Landorus, I could have gotten to a point where I could have lived a hit from the what's it called, from the Azelf, which could have potentially helped, but also could have put me in a worse position versus the Magearna because my speed would have been lowered and he would have gotten a free Soul Heart boost. So, shit happens. Anyways, right here, I go for knockoff, just take out the Azelf. It is indeed Expert Belt. And now he goes to his Magearna. Now here, I make a kind of silly play. What I should have done here is just gone straight for the knockoff. This is also where having Natural Gift Ground over Natural Gift Fire, going for the versatility there, hurts me. If I had Natural Gift Fire, it'd be the easy play, and I'd be in a comfortable position to win the game. But because he's Balloon, I'm not. Now, the reason I should have gone for knockoff here is he has two plays. He can either go for the Flash Cannon or go for the Calm Mind. If he goes for the Flash Cannon and takes me out after the knockoff damage, my Speedy Seismitoad can come in, go for Earth Power, and between that modest Earth Power damage and my Earthquake from Latios, I'll be able to kill it for sure. And additionally, if he goes for Calm Mind, my knockoff plus then Natural Gift Ground will be able to put it in range of my other mons. So I should have done that. Instead, I go straight out of my Seismitoad, and he is going to go straight for the Calm Mind. That series of plays, it's not going to end up mattering with his set because he's not some sort of Shift Gear or Trick Room variant. And honestly, if he was either Shift Gear or Trick Room with 2 attacks, at this point in the game, he would have won. But he did run the Shadow Ball for the Bronzong, and I knew that in team prep, which is why I wasn't as worried about some kind of speed and manipulating Magearna along with Calm Mind. So that is good. The Floor Cannon Okos my Seismitoad. The Flash Cannon takes that out after the damage. But I'm going to come in with my Latias. I'm going to add speed, go for the Earthquake, and we are going to win first round versus Matty Brawlick. Hell of a game. Very well played. I feel really terribly about the Will-O-Wisp misses. Obviously, if he had hit that first one, I would have played differently. I would have gone into Latias. Given the fact that Latias was at full health and I didn't end up needing Vino to win the game, I definitely think I still could have won the game at the very end, but he would have had Zard around a little bit longer. Natural Gift Weavile would have come into play. I probably wouldn't have been able to use, potentially, I wouldn't have been able to use the Natural Gift Weavile on the Magearna, so a whole series of plays would have come into play that didn't. Probably a lot more 50-50s, definitely less in my favor than it ended up being. So yeah, so I am really sorry, Matty. Shit happens, but he did have a hell of a season, only one loss, and that was to Danza to a pretty haxy game that wasn't the most legit. So a hell of a season, taking over for a team that he didn't draft and didn't get to edit much, so props there. As you can tell, he is one of the best players ever in Draft League format. But with that, we move on for the 4th consecutive NPL season to the semifinals. Yeah, it happens every time. Consistency is the name of the game. And right now, I'm about to spoil next round's. I mean, it's also next week's, but next round's opponent. So if you haven't watched the Iron Flash Gaming versus Jolt game, please go do so. 3, 2, 1. Okay, there it is. Unfortunately, our good friend Jolt has been taken down by Zazo. So we will be playing Zazo next round. So, as we all know, with the Arizona Carvanhas / Portland Timbers legacy, GG to Zazo. Welcome your NPL Season 6 champion right there, because as the meme goes, I lose every season to the eventual winner of the league. It's happened in the last 5 leagues I've been in, actually, so it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. So I just want to congratulate Zazo on his victory and hope I'll be able to perform better next season, man. It's rough. But anyways, that being said, it's your boy Togavor. It's been good. I'll see you guys next season. I'm Chris Togavor. You're yourself. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.